Have you ever typed, "so sorry, something came up," 5 minutes before you were supposed to leave? Or maybe you've been on the other side, watching plans dissolve just as you're putting on your shoes. People who cancel plans last minute often display these 9 hidden personality traits according to psychology. Nancy Collier, LCSW, pastor, is a psychotherapist and interfaith minister who calls the disease last-minute-itis. To find out if you suffer from the disease, quick 10-second self-check. Miss ending a can't make it text minutes before go time, sometimes after your friend is already there. Priceless out because the mood isn't there or a more tempting option appeared. Habitually messaging almost there while consistently showing up late. Forgetting to show up for scheduled meetings because you didn't put it in your phone. Collapsing plans vague until the 11th hour, only locking them in over text right before. If you have 50% of the signs, you are a last-minute-itis. You are not alone. We all have that one friend. Let's call her Ella. You like Ella. You've known her for years. She's funny, emotionally aware, sends you random memes at 2 a.m., and occasionally texts things like, "I saw this and thought of you." The kind of small gestures that make you feel chosen. And then it's the night you've been looking forward to. You've showered, picked an outfit, lit a candle, maybe even called a car. Your phone buzzes. I'm so sorry. Something came up." 5 words and a stomach drop. Again. You try not to take it personally. Life happens, right? Still, after the 5th, 10th, 12th time, you're not just disappointed, you're confused. Why do they keep canceling? Do they not value our friendship? Is it anxiety? Is it just disorganization? Here's what I've learned over time, both from being an Ella in my 20s and trying to understand the ones I've known in my 30s. Frequent last-minute cancelers often operate from a complex cocktail of psychology, temperament, and self-regulation patterns. It's not always flakiness. Sometimes it's something much more layered. Here are 9 unique traits I've noticed in people who cancel plans at the last minute and what each one might really mean. 1. You have heightened sensitivity to energy shifts. On Monday, "Yeah, let's do Friday," feels honest. By Friday at 5:42 p.m., you're staring at your shoes thinking, "I don't have anything left." That flip isn't always flakiness. It's often how a sensitive nervous system works. Some people are optimistic schedulers. You picture future them with 8 hours of sleep, a light inbox, and a great mood. Then the week happens. Noise, crowds, Slack pings, tiny fires, family stuff. By the time plans arrive, their battery is flashing red, and every little thing, traffic, music, small talk, feels like too much input. If you've ever heard the phrase highly sensitive, that's the vibe. You absorb more from the environment, so you drain faster. It's not always laziness, it's self-preservation. And while it can be frustrating, it's often a trait linked to high sensitivity, a psychological characteristic described by Dr. Elaine Aron as common in people who absorb external stimulation more intensely. Real talk, you didn't plan to ditch anyone. Your bandwidth collapsed and you froze. 2. You carry guilt more than you let on. From the outside, it can look like last-minute cancelers don't care. Inside, it's usually the opposite. You care so much that the idea of disappointing them becomes its own panic. The text sits there, half-typed, backspaced, retyped. You tell yourself, "I'll send it in an hour." And then it's 3 hours later and the dread is louder. By the time you finally hit send, it's late, messy, and it stings more than it had to. This isn't coldness, it's a guilt spiral. You're trying to dodge the immediate discomfort of telling them, "I can't," so you delay. You soften the message. You hope a vague excuse will make it hurt less for both of you. It doesn't. The guilt just grows teeth. There's also a brutal little calculation that runs in the background before every invite. Can I actually make it? What if I say yes and crash? What if I cancel again and they're done with me? That mental math is exhausting. So, you say yes in the moment because you genuinely want to see them, and because yes keeps everyone happy right now, and then you spend days dreading the follow-through. Underneath is a classic people-pleasing reflex that backfires. To avoid letting them down today, you push the letdown to Friday at 5:57 p.m., when it hurts more and feels less honest. Then the shame kicks in. I'm a bad friend. I always do this. Shame makes you want to hide, which creates more silence, and the cycle repeats. 3. You overestimate your social stamina. I used to have a friend who'd stack her weekend with 3 different plans, and, almost every time, 2 would quietly fall off. She'd laugh about it later. On Monday, it sounds easy. By Saturday, the idea of being on for 5 straight hours makes me want to disappear. This is a common trait among introverts, ambiverts, and people with social anxiety. The fantasy of connection feels amazing. The fuel to pull it off is smaller than you expect. Early in the week, future you looks rested, caught up on emails, and somehow extroverted. Then real life happens. Work noise, tiny fires, sleep debt. And by the time the plan is close, your nervous system is blinking red. How it usually unfolds. Say yes in a hopeful mood, because your desire to see them is real. Watch your energy leak across the week. Hit the day of wall, feel the dread spike, and back out to protect what's left in the tank. It's not flakiness so much as a forecasting glitch. The brain is bad at estimating how much energy social performance takes. Small talk, crowded rooms, reading the room, staying on. For sensitive people, that load is higher. Even simple hangouts come with aftercare. Decompression time, quiet, sleep. If there's no buffer, your body slams the brakes for you. A few tells you're dealing with, or are, this person. You double book or stack plans to make the most of the weekend, then crash. You need a recovery day after one long event. You prefer shorter 60 to 90-minute meetups but feel guilty suggesting it. You bail more when the week was loud. Back-to-back meetings, crowded commutes, family stress. What you're learning, slowly. It's not about being antisocial. It's about respecting your energy rhythm and making fewer, more meaningful commitments. 4. You rely on emotion-based decision-making. Picture this. You're laced up, keys in hand, thumb hovering over your phone. Your body is already saying no, even though calendar you said yes 3 days ago. If staying home promises instant calm and going out sounds heavy, your brain tilts toward relief right now. That's not evil or selfish. It's how a lot of nervous systems are wired under stress. What's happening under the hood? 2 things, mostly. Present bias. Your mind overvalues how you feel in this exact moment and undervalues how you'll feel tomorrow if you bail. Comfort now, pride later. Low override strength. The mental brakes that help you act on values, not just vibes, are tired, especially after a loud week. When willpower is drained, the shortest path to relief usually wins. In psychology, this is linked to low delay of gratification, choosing short-term relief over long-term payoff. So if staying home gives you instant comfort while showing up feels effortful, the scales tip toward flaking, even if you know you'll regret it later. Why it matters? You don't need discipline lectures. You need better tools for decision-making, ones that include future emotions, not just present ones. Contrasts 5. You struggle with time perception and planning. Some cancelers live in what I call calendar denial. You agree on the spot without checking anything, stack 2 invites on the same evening, or genuinely forget you said yes. It isn't malice. It's a brain that treats dates like soft suggestions until the moment is right in front of them. Under the hood, this often looks like a scattered attention style, common in ADHD profiles, and also in highly creative, overcommitted people. The mind locks onto what's urgent or interesting right now. So Friday at 7 doesn't register as real on Tuesday. Then the day arrives, the reminder pings, and the plan finally lands with weight. Suddenly it feels like a disruption, not a commitment. Cue the scramble. How it plays out in real life. You say, "Sounds great," in the group chat, then realize 2 days later you already have a thing. You remember the dinner only when your friend texts, "Leaving now." You underestimate how long everything takes. Shower, parking, drive time. So you're late before you've even left. "I'll put it in my phone later" equals it vanishes into thin air. When your week gets crowded, the oldest plan is the first to slide, because it feels the least visible. What's happening under the surface? It's not about disrespect. It's about how your brain holds, or fails to hold, time. And unless you build better structure, you'll keep scrambling. 6. You associate plans with pressure. For you, a simple hangout doesn't feel simple at all. It feels loaded. What looks like grab a coffee lands in the body like a test. Will I say the right things? Do I look okay? What if I'm off tonight? Will they notice? Will I be enough? That little performance reel starts early in the week and gets louder as the day approaches. By the time you're lacing up your shoes, the noise is deafening, and canceling feels like the only way to make it stop. This is common if you have high social self-consciousness, a trait often linked with past experiences of rejection or masking in social groups. If you've been rejected, judged, or spent years masking to fit in, you often carry a hyper-awareness of how you come across. Plans don't read as casual. They read as pressure. What others won't see? Your spiral. What they will see is the polite cancellation message. What they might not guess is that it took you 2 hours to hit send. Old memories, being teased, feeling too much or not enough, start whispering. Your body goes into protect mode. If I cancel, the pressure ends right now. 7. You crave control over the setting. Home is tuned just right. The lights, the noise level, the temperature, the pause button. Out in public, none of that is guaranteed. The music's blaring, the room is cramped, someone's running late, the table's by the door. And suddenly, what was supposed to be fun feels like work. For people with sensory sensitivities, a trauma history, or chronic health stuff, mental or physical, walking into an unpredictable space can flip your system into high alert. You might really want to see them and still feel your body saying, not safe. A packed bar, shouting over music, being on for hours. Those unknowns can easily outweigh the desire to hang out. So when you pull the plug at the last minute, it's usually about control and regulation, not disrespect. Canceling brings the dial back to calm. Lights down, volume down, heart rate down. How it tends to play out. You say yes on Tuesday, hopeful, rested, optimistic. By Friday, the what-ifs pile up. Noise, crowds, parking, seating, how long it'll run. Your body hits the brakes. Text sent, plans off. Relief first, guilt second. What this means: you cancel to stay in control, to stay safe, and sometimes just to stay regulated. 8. Flaking gives a dopamine hit. Seriously. This one's wild, but true. Believe it or not, sometimes canceling plans can trigger a mini dopamine release. That moment of, I'm free now, hits like a reward, especially if someone was dreading the event. The second you hit, sorry, can't make it, that wave of relief, finally, I'm off the hook, registers like a reward. If you've been dreading the plan, that freedom rush lands even harder. Do it a few times, and your brain starts wiring, cancel equals feel better now. That's a habit loop in the making. At that point, flaking isn't only about dodging discomfort. It quietly becomes something you anticipate because the payoff, immediate relief, shows up right away. It's tricky to spot in yourself, but here are some tells. You feel an immediate mood lift right after sending the text. Lighter, even a little giddy. You catch yourself checking in with your body for that relief before you've even typed the message. You start mentally scanning for acceptable reasons to cancel, almost like you're negotiating with yourself to earn the hit. 10 minutes later, the high fades, and a familiar aftertaste shows up. Guilt, shame, or, I did it again. If that sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're human. Your brain is just choosing fast relief over slow reward, connection, trust, momentum. You can unwind the loop without white-knuckling it. How to break, or soften, the dopamine spiral. Delay the send by 15. Set a timer for 15 minutes before you hit cancel. If, after the timer, you still need to bail, fine, own it. If you feel oddly upbeat or energized post-cancel, you might be riding that dopamine spiral. 9. You're often deeply thoughtful, even if it doesn't look that way. Here's the curveball. A lot of chronic last-minute cancelers are incredibly tender people. You feel deeply. You're the one who really listens, who clock their birthday without a Facebook nudge, who show up with their favorite snack because you remembered an offhand comment months ago. The inconsistency usually lives in logistics, not in love. It's not carelessness, it's complexity. When your emotions run high or your nervous system tips into overload, the follow-through is what buckles first. So yes, it stings when plans fall apart, but it's rarely a sign they don't matter. So, do you keep making plans? That comes down to your bandwidth too. If the last-minute changes are wearing them down, say so, kindly and clearly, as a boundary, not a blow. Try something like, I really care about you and want to spend time together. It's tough for me when plans fall through. Could we set this up in a way that works for both of us? From there, experiment. Keep it spontaneous. Are you free tonight? Instead of booking 2 weeks out. Shorter windows. 60 to 90 minutes beats a 4-hour hang. One-on-one over crowds. Quiet spots over loud rooms. Day of check-ins. Confirm by noon or auto reschedule. No guilt. Offer a soft opt-out. If you're fried, we can move it. No hard feelings. The key is mutual respect. Their nervous system matters. So does your time. If both can be honored, the connection can deepen. Final words. I used to bail all the time. Not because my friends didn't matter, but because I hadn't figured me out yet. I didn't know how to pace my energy, keep my calendar honest, or say where my line was before I crossed it. With time, I learned to say no earlier, to put fewer things on the calendar, to tell the truth about my capacity before it snapped. That one shift, honesty up front, saved a lot of last-minute apologies. If someone in your world keeps canceling, try to look past the flake and notice the pattern. You may be looking at a highly sensitive, overthinking, deeply caring person who's still learning how to show up, for you and for themselves. And if that person is you, be gentle. Then get curious. What actually fuels you? What drains you faster than you admit? The goal isn't just to keep every plan. It's to make plans that fit the version of you who genuinely wants to stay.